Something about you is different. Some kind of energy's messing with all the chemicals in my brain. Feel the temperature rising, that look in your eyes paralyzing. Forever you're never leaving my face. Heart is racing here now, never wanna wait out. I want you right up to the end. Oh, you know what I'm feeling, even if it doesn't make sense. You don't have to guess, no, you're a mind reader. Something about you is different. Some kind of energy's messing with all the chemicals in my brain. Feel the temperature rising, that look in your eyes paralyzing. Forever you'll never leave in my veins. Heart is racing here now, never wanna wait out. I want you right up to the end. Oh, you know what I'm feeling, even if it doesn't make sense. You don't have to guess, no, you're a mind reader. Mind reader.
What's up, everybody? Back with another video. What's good, Sheriff? What's good, everybody else? Figured I'd just do a stream while I'm rolling through the abyss. So, shout out to all you guys. I hope everybody's doing good. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if y'all can hear me. If anybody out there can hear me, throw me a thumbs up or something. Let's see if I can turn this on. Show comments. Okay, you can hear me. Thanks, Linda. But I'm back with another video. Just figured I'd turn on the stream and see what's up with the fam, you know. A lot going on, as always, but I'm not really paying attention to much of the bull crap these days. So I just know there's a lot of shit going on. A lot of stuff going on, but you know, what's the latest? Oh, the latest thing that caught my attention was federal was, the tariffs. They had Trump's tariffs. Right there, Trump tariffs blocked by U.S. Court of International Trade. Elon Musk leaving Trump administration, White House official says. But still all this rhetoric going on, and policies, and just so much. And the story earlier was Trump's tariffs were blocked by right there, a panel of federal judges on Wednesday blocked President Trump from imposing some of his steepest tariffs on China and other U.S. trading partners, finding that federal law did not grant him unbounded authority to tax imports from nearly every country around the world. Just basically letting you guys know that he's not powerful right now, okay? He's not the government, okay? He is a representative form of government, not the actual government. And that's where people need to get their heads out of the cracks of their asses. Because Donald Trump is not the government. The Trump administration is not the government. All right? People just got their heads in their ass because they've been propagated that this guy is a savior instead of their own selves, and knowing that they are free, and having people vote and beg for masters to rule them. What's good, Cuts? It's pretty fun. When you sit back and look at what is going on, like, it's and how did it get to where it got? It's pretty sad, man. It's pretty sad. And y'all can hear me loud and clear, right? But it is pretty sad. Pretty sad that, man, we let it get to where it's at. I mean, down to getting a fishing license. I was watching some videos because my I turn on YouTube and I got court cases and shit coming up and all kind of stuff, but police stuff. And let me know if you can hear me pretty clear. But a video pops up where boating and fishing, and it was one where a sheriff was with his family on the water and approached by Fish and Game in Florida, and I'm like, it really pissed me off. Like, I was really upset. And the cop and the one boater was a sheriff, and like, it pissed me off. Because I'm not a cop hater. It is what it is. He's out there enjoying his family, and he gets harassed by the damn sheriff gets arrested, okay, and harassed by Fish and Game sheriffs on the water. And it really pisses me off because you understand the jurisdictions of the water, and just seeing them like pull up on a boat and board the vessel and just like do this and do that. And it's just like, how do we really let it get like this? Like, seriously. Let me know if y'all can hear me. I want to make sure y'all can hear me. I know sometimes I'll be talking to the air, but I don't want to be talking to the air. I guess no one can hear me. Okay, I'm good. Thanks, guys. So I know it's also a little late. People are sleeping, so. But yeah, like we literally let it get to where, you know, you could be on the fan, on the fan. I'm, I've done boating before, and that's happened to me before. You know, they roll up, you get on the boat. I mean, I wasn't as intelligent as I was then of what I know now, because that would have never happened. It's just not gonna happen. Sorry. You know, I've yet to see a boat court. I've yet to see a boat court or operating without a boating license. Suspension, or where are you gonna go to? They don't even have venue, okay, for things like that. So you gotta look at these things, man. Just like I found out that you don't need none of that shit for a jet ski. Nothing. And I do that with pride and honor, boy. I'd be looking for the sheriff to roll up on me on a jet ski. You got zero jurisdiction, my friend. Get lost, buddy. Get lost, pal. Anything you do beyond that scope of that is cha-ching, cha-ching. Let me collect the check. Because I'm about to start, some very nice things, I mean, if we want to be men and women and, stand up against tyranny and fight and be a truther, then we got to stand in the truth, They got to play their game. They want to charge us for everything and say we damaged everything and we're not following rules. Well, guess what? They got to follow the rules too. And when they ain't following the rules, we got to make them follow the rules. It's like, if we don't follow the rules, we got to pay. If they don't follow the rules, they got to pay. You got to start suing these motherfuckers for the shit that they're doing. Simple as that. But anyways, but we literally let it get to that, that where you could be on a boat. I mean, just, tyrants could just roll up on you, make all these demands of a life jacket. I mean, life jacket, sound device, all in the name of safety, Safe. We're keeping you safe. And then I watched another video where they bust this guy's window out. I mean, he messed up, but he was standing on business. But he messed up by not. But what his problem was, he had a expired plate on a car. You don't need that. You either register the damn vehicle, okay, or you either get your ass a private plate with a DOT number. And all that good stuff. You register it through the federal government, which is with a DOT number, Department of Transportation number, to your plate, whatever you want to call it. You put it on the record, you file it, you give it to all the agencies or wherever you're at. You let it be known. And the DMV, they don't really want to, do that stuff because that's when you realize it's a business, So they're not gonna, they're gonna say, oh, we're not gonna we're gonna let you use our services, for your shit. No. You know what I mean? It's just crazy, man. And people they just don't care. People just like it's normal. It's hey, it's just what we got to do, or it's a hassle. And then sit there in the same breath and complain about some shit with what the government's doing or what they're doing. They're making me take this, and they're telling me I got to stay in the house and I got to lock myself down. I got to take this test and that test, and I got to get this injection or I'll lose my job. Yeah, well, it stems from letting them do stupid shit already. So, hey, surprise, that's where it starts, Then you got people with guns, they're complaining, oh, these gun regulations. Well, where do you think it starts? You let them, you let them make you get a damn fishing license, and you talking about some damn guns. Why don't you shut the fuck up with the gun shit? Go back to fishing licenses, okay? And say, why I gotta have a goddamn fishing license? I'm gonna catch all the fish in the goddamn sea. That is just dumb as fuck. Like, that is just dumb as everything possible. When you sit there and look at what you gotta do, it's sad. And then you understand, like, people ain't even got no damn power. None, zero. All they got the power: threat, coercion, tyranny. But when you look at the letters of the law, they don't even have that power. We give it up. Think of this shit, man. There's so many laws, they don't even enforce them. Well, they're policies, statutes, codes, stuff like that, which, those are all administrative crap, garbage, right? They're not laws, all right? You weren't taught that if you harm somebody, you have to pay. We weren't taught that. We were taught, no, you shouldn't do that because this will happen, because that'll happen. We never questioned, like, why? Like, wait, why would we get in trouble for that? Just because. What do you mean, just because? It's just the law. Well, no, it's not the law. What are laws? What are rules? That's why rules are meant to be broken. Why? Because they ain't laws. Seriously. Policy. What is it? Let me see if I got it. Okay. Okay. Now, you got policy. It refers to internal rules or administrative procedures that apply to agencies, officers, or corporate entities, not individual, sovereign, or private citizens, unless they enter into jurisdiction by contract or consent. The legal maxim is statutes must be clear in their application to the people, and ambiguity is resolved in favor of liberty. Okay? This is what it is. Alright? No public policy of a state can be allowed to override positive guarantees of the U.S. Constitution and the state constitution. This underscores the principle that individual constitutional rights cannot be infringed upon by state policies. Additionally, in discussions, about rights and mere privileges, a fundamental right is protected under the Constitution. It's elaborated in American Jurisprudence, second edition, Constitutional Law, subsection 329, which states the right, check this out, the right of a citizen to travel upon the public highways to transport his property thereunto is not a mere privilege which may be permitted or prohibited at will, but a common right which he has under his right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay? This is what the law says, but what do they tell you to do? Go register your car, go get insurance, and go get a fucking driver's license. Like, what even is all that? Well, you gotta have it because you gotta have it, and then insurance is because, you kill somebody or you hurt somebody, they gotta pay for it. Well, you don't even understand what a fucking bond is. We ain't even been taught what a bond is. But the minute somebody get in trouble, you got a bond. But no American really doesn't understand what a bond even is, and then sits up here and thinks they go run into insurance companies, and they might have a clean driving record, been driving for 25 years, and they're getting paying every month for an insurance policy, the same word. Well, you got to get an insurance policy for the policies of driving. So you got to get a policy under the policies. Like, how does that, what is that? No one questions it. Nobody asks. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares. All right. People are too busy. It's too hard. It's too much where I don't want to, I'm in fear. I don't want to get, in trouble. And I get it. I done got hemmed up with all that shit before. I mean, some you don't want to go through the hassle. I get that whole, but I mean, we were getting to a point where, we got to start, being accountable to hold accountable. If we're going to just go along with everything, all right, might as well just pack it up, might as well just pack it up. Meanwhile, you can rescind your application for a license, and they'll honor it and take you off their system. Got to say a little, extreme, legal words to them, and they'll do it. All right. And then you'll not be in the system of not being a driver commercially. But the problem is, when you get pulled over, you're going to have to go through all that stuff. And the cops don't know, so they're going to do that. That's what they're told. They're like, look, people are figuring this shit out. We're just going to have to see who knows what. And that's where they're at with a lot of things. That's why you got to people are stepping their games up. Now, they're getting to a point where they got this what all this whole Donald Trump shit is about, with all this court and the judicial and the state and all these different venues and jurisdictions. That's what that's all about. It's all about getting people to accept, getting people used to dysfunction, because they're gonna go rogue. They got to. Too many people are, studying. All right. Too many people are figuring a lot of stuff out. Too many people are going back to freedom and liberty and justice for all. They don't like that. They're being challenged heavy. There's people challenging, them in courts. Their little administration processes ain't really holding up that well anymore. I mean, they are. I mean, there's not a lot, but there's a lot more people now where it's gained attention, and they're being told to do things and say, well, hey, let's roll them. Roll. Keep going, push harder. Don't let up. You guys got to hold this bar together. So, and that's what they're doing. And I'm talking in the realms of just people just, learning this stuff from anything to do with administrative processes. And they realize there's no authority there. And, these things are moving into, clogging up the dockets for, appeals courts and all this other stuff. I mean, which is good. The people are fighting back, But when you start to see, that, they're being faced with it more and more. And also, it's not your, it's not your Moors no more. It's not your Hebrew Israelites. It's not your, these wild, Confederate flag sovereign citizens anymore. Now it's average, everyday Joe Schmo Schmuck, doctor, businessman, just regular blue collar guy, it's just regular people now which are doing a lot of studying and understanding this stuff, It's like a whole new wave, and people are pushing back through a lot of stuff, and they're, I've been checking out some cases, and they know what's up, man. A lot of things you can learn by just watching court cases, administrative court proceedings, and watch how they do things, watch the attorneys, watch how they present things. I mean, they put it on, they literally put it online. I come on my feet and be like, oh, this case. I'm like, well, this looks going to be interesting. And, a lawyer challenging jurisdiction. Like, that's what I want to hear. You listen to it enough, you become ABC 1, 2, 3. You regurgitate, what is it? Freaking, repetitive shit. You start to, pulling out the numbers, So when when you hear, these cases so much, and you start to see patterns, and it starts to get, okay, that's what's going on, So, and then it's good to watch these things and, watch what they do, because then, gives you an overall understanding of what's going on around you. I mean, it can help a lot of people out. People always get, I mean, if it isn't, fines, traffic, family courts, little criminal charges that are like bull crap. I'm not talking about people who are actually doing crimes. This never applies to people who do shit. This goes to people who are fucking terrorized by tyranny. You get code violations, house violations, or whatever. It's all bullshit. It's all administrative proceedings that need you to consent some way. Most of the way they get you is coercing and threatening you into it, But when there is no cause action, then it's void. And when you really get down to the nuts and bolts, everything these people do is void. All right? Everything they do is just void. It's just getting them out of, getting them out of the hole. Getting them all, untangling it all. So, one way or another, got to go through it. We should be understanding what our bills are. We should be understanding what everything we do in life is outside of our private self. We should learn it, because it's not the way we've been trained. Doesn't work that way. Simply going to pay your electric bill isn't even how it's supposed to be paid. What the fuck is wrong with this asshole driver? Going to pay your, paying for anything is actually not how it's supposed to be done. You just look at go look at the debt clock. It just keeps going up and up. Why? Well, because people don't understand what's going on. They don't understand the other thing. There's no money. How can you pay for things with no money? It's all debt. What are you doing? Well, you're incurring more debt. People don't understand the whole concept behind that. They don't understand it at all. It's crazy, man. When you stop and think about it, it's crazy. Oh, I gotta go do this. I gotta go get this permit. I gotta get that permit. I gotta get that permit. What permit? Why? That's the thing, like, you gotta go get a permit for something. What did you do to require you to have to ask for permission? Permission is something somebody asked for that done something wrong. Permission. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Permission. Leave, sanction, the act of allowing. All right? A giving up or yielding permission. All right? That's what it means. That's what permission means. Leave, sanction, the act of allowing. All right? A giving up, a yielding permission. A permit. A permitting transitive, allow something to be done, suffer, or allowed to be. Okay? And it means let pass. You permit someone to pass, let pass. Okay, we all get that. Let go, let loose, give up, hand over, let, allow, grant, permit. That's what permits are, and permission. Like, think about that. To allow. So why would you have to be allowed to, like, get a permit for something? Like, what do you need permits for? Okay, you got a right to bear arms, but you gotta be allowed a permit, which is a piece of paper. That means that somebody over you, okay? Someone over you is allowing you to do something. That's just some wild ass shit to even comprehend. Think about that. That's pretty crazy when you actually think of all the permits you gotta get. And then if you look at where the permits come from, they come from all different kinds of agencies. Okay? They come from all different kinds of agencies. Think about that. That's right. An application, begging permission. Like, you got to get a permit. First, you got to get a permit to drive. Then you got to get a license. Some crazy crap, man. And then you look at what's behind the commercial driver's license when you apply for the application to become an employee for the state. All right, when there's no law that says you got to obtain an actual license. There's no law that says you must have a license. You got to get a license. Like, if there's a law stating you got to get a license, then there would be a law. You got to get a license, or else if you do not obtain a license, you could be punishable by A, B, C, and D, right? There's no law because a license is not an act being done. All right, difference between a law, right? There's laws of, it's against the law, or you can't just go up and fucking punch someone in the face. You can't go up and stab someone in the neck. You just can't do that. Why? Because you're causing harm to somebody. Well, you can't go damage the property over there because you cause damage to someone's property. And you got to know, any action like that is because you're doing an act on somebody else. All right? Crazy. So think about it when it comes to like a license for something. Give a damn what it's for, fishing. Why would you gotta get a fishing license? Think about this. Why would you have to get? Even when I was a kid, I said, fuck that shit. We had game wardens coming down, you got a licensed fishing license? Like, no, what are we gonna get a fishing license? Well, you can get one for $15. I forgot, that's how much it was. Oh, you guys should get they take the little fish, come down game. Man, what the hell? Fucking, I wish I would. I don't even fish, because I don't eat fish and I don't kill fish, so I don't fish. But if I did fish and I seen a game warden, man, you can kiss my ass. You can kiss my ass. I would love to be in that situation. I remember when a park ranger came and said, don't climb on the waterfall. I said, seriously? There's a crime? What's the crime? And that was with my family. I didn't really want to go into it. But if I was by myself, I would have been like, look, man, whatever we're going to do, we're going to do it. Just like when I was in another park, it was in New York, it was spring, right? It said no swimming around. And I'm like, that's not a law. It's not even a rule. It just says no swimming. Where's a code, right? Like, they literally would have a code. It was codified, meaning they have some kind of meeting that they agreed that, you know what, you can't swim in there. Well, guess what? No, that's not happening. You're going to have a natural spring in a park that you can't swim in. Man, please, jump in that water. Guy comes around and is like, oh, you guys can't swim? I said, yes, says who? Sign right there. I said, there's no law on there. He's like, oh, you're pretty smart, huh? You're intelligent. You know what time it is. He gave me a freaking badge, and he wrote off and said, just remember I told you, don't swim in there. He gave me a little park badge, like, sticker. I'm like, cool. I mean, what are they going to do? You're going to get arrested for swimming because it says no swimming in the water, but in other parts of the water you can swim. Like, that don't make... Come on, guys. Some things take common sense. If there's parts of the water you can swim in, and then part of the water, I can understand if it was like some drinking water, something like that. But no, this was a spring. You got a part where you can swim, and then you got a part over here where it just got a sign that says no swimming. Guess what? I'm fucking swimming. I mean, seriously, what are they going to say? What the fuck is this guy doing? Am I tripping? It's like the fucking 5th time this dude done passed us. Hold on 1 second, man. Am I tripping? This fucking guy passed us like 6 times already? the hell is wrong with him? Oh, what the? I thought I was tripping for a minute. I'm like, why is this, the same car just it's zooming by like going 100 fucking miles an hour, and then I'm not paying attention because I'm doing a stream. But then after that, I see the same fucking car again. I think I'm tripping and shit, going like Groundhog Day or something. I don't know, going back in time or some shit. All right, I just thought that was me. All right, what? Yeah, yeah. All right, bye. Yeah, this damn truck done passed like SUV flew by us like 6 times already, and look now I'm about to go past it again. Now we're about to go past it again. Oh shit! He's about to do this shit again. Look at this shit. Oh, you gotta see this fucking guy over here. My camera's all dirty. Like that. Yeah, y'all can see. Look at this shit. Now he's going 60. Now we gotta go around him. All right, heck, go around him. Oh, my camera's flipped. I don't know why it's flipped that way. Now he just takes off. Look, he just takes off, but he didn't. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with this dude. Weirdo. Alright, well, let me get over this. He's driving slower. That's weird. This is weird ass shit on the road. So, this fucking guy's a weirdo, man. He's slowing down again. Look at this shit. I don't know, the guy's weird. Watch, guys. He gonna come ripping by in like a minute, doing like 100 miles an hour. Watch. Just watch. 100%. This will be number 7 flying by. But anyways, that's that. I mean, when you sit and look at, we have, okay, it's pretty crazy, man. You know, it really is crazy. It truthfully is crazy. I'm into all the little codes, and when you actually look at wherever area you're at, just look at what you can't do. Look at the codes of what you can't do. I mean, it's just wild. It's like mind-boggling, and and how they can do it and make money off it. You know. Yeah. It's crazy. It really is crazy. But yeah, and the thing about it is, the reason why I bring all this shit up is because the people, okay, which is us, okay, are the power. We're the power. But we don't exercise it. We don't utilize it, you know. And that's why there's a bar. I mean, it's energy. You know what a bar is in electricity. There's a bar there. You know, it keeps neutral. But it makes it to where they can rule over us through the bar. They have more power. You know? And it's good to see a lot of lawyers actually flaking, exposing it now. You know? They're tired of it. It's crazy. It truly is mind blowing, man. But anyways, the other thing is, like my thumbnails, like I got this thumbnail. Most people don't have identity. You know, they don't have no identity, which means they don't have no identity, no culture, no lineage, no history. All right. But I like to say no mystery. All right. We're supposed to not have history. We're supposed to have mystery. History is what they want us to have. Mystery is what we're supposed to have. It's my story, right? My story, mystery. We're supposed to have it, okay? But we don't. You know, we were taught history, and that's the way it is, and we got to do this, and we got to do that, and no, it doesn't say that. You know. Okay? Mystery, right? Mystery. Influenced in from by medieval Latin mysticism. Mysticism, now perhaps only in mystery play in reference, right? Mystery. Significance, mystical truth. All right? Secret. All right? That's mystery. So mystery, we're not taught that. That's supposed to be what we would call our history, but we can't say history because that's their history. Mystery is what we are supposed to be bringing from the rear and saying, this is who I am, because that's your significance, okay? That's your significance. So a lot of people don't know that. Mystery is your significance, right? That's, just look up the etymology of the word. It's your mystical truth, all right? Secret, all right? They don't want you to know that. So, now, why is it called, mystery is what? Significance. It's your significance. It's your secret, right? Why is it called that? Well, what's the secret? It means from general knowledge, secrecy, a mystery, a thing hidden, right? Secret, transition to keep secret, conceal and hide. And it doesn't, when you start learning all these words, they don't mean what we've been taught, you know? Secret. secrecy, a mystery, a hidden thing. Think about that. Then you got history, right? Incidents, right? A story, a chronicle, all right? Be notably engaged, okay? Conveying information from the past. That ain't got nothing to do with you. People say we got to know our history. No, the fuck we don't. We got to know our mystery. You know, we're using words wrong. We're doing everything ass backwards wrong. And that's again why people think they're truthing and don't even know what the hell's going on with their own self. They don't know what's going on in their own life. You know? Oh, shit, that hurt. Oh, I just hit my elbow. They don't even know what's going on in their own life. You know, they're talking about truthing and doing this and doing that and, you know, all this other stuff. Well, we ain't even got our own goddamn self figured out. We don't know where we come from. We don't know, you know, who we are, who our ancestors are. And if we do, we ain't claiming it. And I just say we as, you know, I put myself in with the problem too. You know? Hold on 1 second. So I put myself in the problem too. You know? So you know, most people don't have any clue basically who they are. You know, like I said, they don't know anything about their past and don't care to know anything about their past to bring it forth. Understanding the power of your past. Okay? They told you, oh, that's irrelevant. Live now, live in the now. Yeah, I get living in the now. I do that. But you can't forget where you came from and who you came from. You know? And like I said, most people don't care. You know, they just claim whoever they are, their name. And if they are a color of a Crayola crayon, they just take that label, you know, and they say, oh, this is me on this ID. You know, you got people, it's actually fucking people who believe that that's them on the fucking ID. You get a driver's license and all that shit. People believe that that's actually them. Like, you want to see, you know, because they've trained us that way. They trained us. Think about it. Think how stupid that shit is. Like, if you actually use your logical mind, you're going to pull out a piece of paper while standing in front of somebody else that's fucking actually looking at you, right? Yeah, they might not know what you call yourself. That's irrelevant, okay? That's irrelevant in the world, okay? That's irrelevant in reality, in our true essence, our true reality. What we call ourselves is fucking irrelevant, man. If another man or woman approaches another man or woman and says, who are you? What the fuck? You standing, you're literally looking at the person. And think about it. If you think about it like in an authoritative way, you're looking at the fucking person. And then you're going to ask them to identify themselves. Like, think about this shit. Think about it. Just think about it. How stupid that shit sounds. And how stupid the act actually is. You know, hey, what's your name? Who are you? Let me see your ID. Like, literally, you're standing in front of somebody and they want to see a fucking plastic piece of fucking paper or piece of plastic with the same person they're looking at on it. Think about how stupid this shit is and how we just allow it. Like, when I sit there and think about it, man, I just shake my head like, damn, that is some stupid ass shit. Like, when we see somebody in their everyday life, we don't look for there goes Bob. Let me go see if that's Bob. Bob, let me see your ID. I want to know if that's really you. I mean, think about it. I mean, think about this stupid shit. You know? Think about this dumb ass shit. You know, a lot of people, they don't think about stuff like that. It's just because it's normal. It's cognitive dissonance on a totally different level. It's almost like breathing. You know? Somebody come right up to you, looking at you, could observe everything about you, identify you because they're looking at you, and then ask you to pull out something that resembles you, that looks like you, that's probably going to look way different, all right, on a fucking piece of paper. Not realizing even the people with authority asking you, they've been accustomed to that too. You know? Because if they come look for somebody and they already got a description, they ain't coming and asking for your fucking ID. They already got the description. They know what you look like. They know how, they know all that. And they look, oh yeah, there you go, right there, let's get them. They ain't run up to you, let me see your ID, let me see your ID. No, man, they don't do that. The same people that demand ID for certain instances, they don't demand it for a lot of other instances. Like when they get a search warrant or a warrant on somebody, they ain't asking the motherfucker for no ID. Identify yourself. Let me see your ID. Man, they already know who they going to get. That's how it's supposed to be done. Somebody done did some shit. They know what the motherfucker look like. They know his name. They know where they be at. They done positively identified them by going physically and looking at them. They don't need no fucking ID. The ID shit is a fucking illusion of some dumbass shit that we got involved with that we shouldn't even be partaking in at all. Think about that. And that's why I come at it with the angle in case somebody's sitting there pondering, like, it's fucking, you're right, it's so stupid. It don't even make no sense. If ID is your face, yeah. No, because I'm looking at it from a whole different understanding, because I know when a bitch they gotta go get a fucking warrant, okay? They ain't coming asking for no fucking identification. When you gotta get somebody serve some fucking papers, they ain't asking for no fucking identification. Because these things are under the law. Okay? LAW, not legal processes, policies, rules, because those don't pertain to any of us. We allow them to pertain, but they truly don't. Anything you look at, it doesn't apply to you. And people don't understand this stuff. Or let alone give a fuck about it. They don't care. Most people don't give a shit. But that's what I be thinking about. Like, stupid. I mean, that is like stupid. And then the other thing we got, when you go to identity, right? What do they got you identified as? A fucking what? Are you a U.S. citizen? A U.S. citizen, Well, what the hell is a U.S. citizen? Oh, born in the United States. No, you're not. So you mean to tell me all of our birth certificates say we're born in the United States? No, none of them say we're born in the United States. Where? Where the hell does it say you were born in the United States on your birth certificate? It says you were born in a state, and you get a birth certificate from that state, which that's a whole nother story that I'm not going down. Right? Then you got a resident of a state, what ain't shit. Resident ain't nothing but an alien. Y'all don't understand this. Illegal alien shit is for for the U.S. citizens. All right? Whether you know it or not, or believe it or not, that shit is all for U.S. citizens because alien and resident are the same under the law. The exact same. There is no difference in them. You know, those are quasi-judicial, legal terms. So, but anyways, we're all born, like I was born in Colorado. I'm a Coloradoan, right? I put it on the thumbnail. That's an actual term that tells whoever that I'm born in the state of Colorado. And again, I'm going back, to all because I'm about to, do some shit that a lot of people never have done before. And that is, okay, I was born in the state of Colorado, so I'm going to be a Coloradoan, okay? And I'm going to get things tied to where I was born. I should not have I don't give a damn. Wherever you were born, okay, you should not have, like me, born in Colorado, but I'm carrying a New York State. I mean, all this stuff is factually wrong in jurisdiction, in venue, and all that good stuff. I'm not under the jurisdiction. You got your own goddamn jurisdiction. Okay? Stop with all the fucking 1990 and, early 2000s fucking truther garbage. All right? Jurisdiction. You got jurisdiction over your fucking self. So that would mean people don't understand this stuff. I mean, that would mean, if you got, okay, so me, I got born in Colorado, so I got a Colorado birth certificate, right? I'm in New York State with a fucking New York State ID, right? And then I'm in the United States. So wait a minute. Nothing I own says I'm a U.S. citizen, okay? Where? No. My identification don't say U.S. citizen. All right? I don't have a passport. So right then and there, I'm not a U.S. citizen. My birth certificate doesn't say I'm a U.S. citizen. How the fuck I became a U.S. citizen? Who classified me as a U.S. citizen? I mean, I know I'm not a U.S. citizen, but I'm just saying. This is what the average person is running around this motherfucker, doesn't have a clue who they are. Or care to know. Don't give two shits. I don't care. I don't care. I gotta do it. I gotta get my identity. I gotta get my driver's license. I gotta drive. I gotta go to work. I gotta do this. I ain't got time for that. And then be, out here, saying the government's corrupt and all this other shit. Hell no. Government doing business. You gotta respect the hustle. You gotta respect the game. Oh man, definitely going to sleep. You gotta respect the game, boys out there capitalizing off of complete and utter stupidity and ignorance and mental retardation all in one. So again, you got if you're from California, you're a Californian. What's good, Ryan? If you're from California, you're a Californian, right? If you're from Arizona, you're an Arizonian, right? A New Yorkian, a Pennsylvanian, Floridian, Texan, right? Why do they have those? They don't want you to know about those. God forbid, you claim state, right? See, that's the the key. That's the thing. State. If you're a state citizen, you got power under the state constitution. All states got constitutions, but yet, you know, nobody even understands, that there's constitutional rights. Yeah, which one, motherfucker? Which one? Do you know? I got civil rights. Oh, I hope you don't got civil rights. Now you're really asking for trouble. They might beat your ass worse. They're going to do you worse because you say you got civil rights. Yeah, come on. You know? So, you know, you got Nevadian, right? Utahnian. You got all these different states. You're born in the state. You know, your power is vested in with the state. Okay, what tells you you're a U.S. citizen? Word of mouth. Well, that's what the Constitution said. I'm under the Constitution. Well, you also under the state Constitution. Well, the state Constitution subject to jurisdiction there. Yeah, no, they're not. That's what they want you to believe. Most of us already know where the jurisdiction of the United States is at, as far as the corporation, the one that's running around here doing all the craziness, right? The administrative form of government that's operating off of a representative democracy on the executive side of the government, not the judicial side of the government. So, right? So you got, so I'm born in the state of Colorado. Hey, that's my state. I'm living over here. Well, I'm living in a whole other country with a different goddamn ID. How does that work? And I had to use this. When you understand contract law, I could get. This is what I'm gonna. I'm actually doing this. Okay. I'm doing all this. I'm working with the DMV, state of Colorado, the New York State Department of Motor Vehicles, state of Colorado. I'm gonna make them spill the fucking beans. Okay. Because how do I have a Colorado birth certificate? I'm in New York. I got to bring that Colorado birth certificate to get a identification in New York. Okay? From a whole nother entire state. Right? Think about that. Are you a resident of, we put yes on the applications, right? Resident means alien. Think about it. Resident means alien. You start looking at the no's on a lot of these forms and look at the explanations, and they can't deny you because then they'll be denying you a right, right? Oh, but it's a privilege for some things. No. So I'm actually gonna, work this magic, because if anything, I'm doing fraud. All right, because think about it. My documents for identification don't add up. You think about it. And then you need your social security number. Think about that one. You need your social security number. Okay? We already know that. You don't even got to get. Think about a social security number. How you obtain it. What's it for? Your EIN number. Your commercial number, right? There's no law telling you got to have it. Right? But you got to get that to get them, like an identification. Then you got to provide your birth certificate. Like, what are they using that certificate for? Think about it. Think about why you born in wherever you're born. Like I'm born in the state. Why I had to have that birth certificate? What's that for? You know, a lot of us know, some of this stuff. But I'm just throwing it around like, how does it make sense? You know? Oh, just because it does. No, man, everything is with reason. No, when you start looking at it, you're like, damn, this is fraud. Like, I'm doing some crazy fraud. And they're letting me do fraud, and that's crazy that you got to perpetuate fraud just to not be frauded. Like, crazy. And then you end up being frauded anyway. So you got to well, I guess that's what's called does. Just say, I'm going to perpetuate the fraud, do the fraud, because everybody's doing fraud anyway. So it's good. It's like legal and lawful. Hey, it's good enough until the law comes into question. Then it's not legal anymore. It's unlawful. So think about that shit. See, people don't think about these things, man, and I do it. When you think like that and you start going looking, you start, yeah, there's something here. Yep, this isn't right. We're just volunteering doing this and voluntarily doing that, and because the way I look at it is, if you're born in a state and you live in another state, then you should have a passport. And that's where the whole concept of the state national stuff, like, I don't really get into that, because it's kind of like, I get it, but I see the definition, see where it comes from, but you ain't even got to do all that. It's just too much. It's hard. You're a people, you're a person, you're a man, you're a woman, you're a citizen. Okay? You got protection from two constitutions, state and the United States Constitution. United States Constitution is only really poo-poo power. It's the state constitution that holds all the power. So, the power comes from because the people. So, yeah. But, yeah, man. Let me see if I can see these comments. Another fraud, every step. Contract fraud, yep. Any contract entered with the details hidden is. Oh, yeah, 100%. It's called full disclosure. If you don't got full disclosure, it's void. It's a void. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on, man. But yeah, until we the people, realizing we the people, then it is the sheeple. Shit, I'm rocking with the sheeple. If we the people don't realize we the people, I'm rocking with the sheeple, because the sheeple, they get it, they understand it. So we got natural and unalienable rights, and we let them be alienated. See how aliens all and all this stuff? We got inalienable rights. Think about that shit when you're an alien. Crazy. So again, this shit is boring to people. It's boring to people, but me, I love it, because when you see anything to do with stuff like that, you already know what time it is. As soon as I see the headline of Trump, I'm like, oh, well, I knew that, because he ain't got no damn power, and there's people out there challenging this stuff. So, hold on one second, guys. But yeah, look that up. Look that up. I'm on what state you live in. And then you realize that, whatever state you're in, you're actually or born in, you're tied to that state. As far as like, your birthright, which is your birthright turns into a certificate. Well, I wish I would have known what I know now. Well, none of my kids have no birth certificate. And think about it, if you ain't got no birth certificate, shit. But they'll make it hard for you, da-da-da. But that's the part of living is we shouldn't be doing none of this shit. What do you need a birth certificate for? Enroll in school, get health care. Then when you get all out of 16, you get the license. Well, then when you get 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, whatever and up, you have a kid and stuff like that. Well, reality check. If you didn't have that birth certificate, you couldn't go to work. If you didn't have that birth certificate, you could not go to school. If you didn't have that birth certificate, you couldn't get a license. If you didn't have that birth certificate, you wouldn't be able to do a lot of stuff. But guess what? Now, if you didn't have that birth certificate, you wouldn't have had to go to school, which we shouldn't be going anyway. Then, you didn't have that birth certificate, wouldn't be able to drive. Guess what? Don't fucking, just gonna drive anyway. You get pulled over, look, where's your record at? Think about it. Then, when it comes to the kid, shit, you ain't got no birth certificate. You ain't get the kids no birth certificate. Guess what? Ain't nobody coming to get nothing from you if you're a man or woman. Y'all don't, split ways and somebody's trying to be, do what they do. Can't do nothing. So, yeah, man. Just go look up where you're from. You from North Carolina? You're a North Carolinian. You a Georgian. You're from Georgia. You from Pennsylvania? You from Pennsylvania. You from Ohio. So, yeah. Pretty crazy stuff, man. How they got us all messed up. And again, like I was saying about the insurance, all insurance company does is they get insurance bonds on your behalf and charge you the premiums. Just like you got to be bonded for, like, say you want to be a car dealer, you got to get bonded, right? You need a surety bond, like $1 million surety bond, $500,000 surety bond. So what? You go pay for it. It's like $5,000 for, I think, well, it used to be like $5 to $10,000. All right. You want to open up a liquor store, whatever, drug store, you need bonds. You need a bond. So you go and you obtain a bond and then you pay for it one time and you have this bond. Well, it's insurance in case something goes wrong that you have this bond for. So what do you think a vehicle insurance bond is? They're going out, they're charging you whatever, $2 to God knows how much a year for some shit that they done paid, depends on what kind you got, anywhere from $100 to whatever. They'll buy an insurance bond. And then that bond, will cover your insurance. You'll pay them back every month. And they already got a bond. And they hope you crash because they got a bond policy. Shit, probably $1 million, whatever. And then they, you crash. Oh, you okay? You got a little fender bender. Oh, okay. Anybody hurt? Oh, okay, good. Cut you a check. Boom. Done. And then damage 5,000. What do you think? They put like they put minimum 10 on that 5,000 on your insurance bond. They'll put 50. You sign all these, you already consented to them, oversight of your bond anyway. So they got power of attorney over your bond because you got them. You're right, through an insurance agent or broker, and now they're insurance agency, which has agents in there. Okay, what do you think they're doing with them bonds? Oh yeah, I gotta go pay my insurance this month. Oh, you mean the bond you already paid for, and it's highly likely you're gonna get in a wreck. So they're racking in all these money year after year after year. Come on. Crazy. So, I don't know if y'all can hear me, y'all. So that's your insurance bond for your vehicles, where they don't tell you about it. Let me know if y'all can hear me. You could go secure your own insurance bond, $1 million insurance bond. Some people make their own. I don't get it, but you could just have a, reputable company do like the insurance companies, Okay, thanks. You get you an insurance bond, $1 million, whatever, and you're insured. You ride around with that and say, oh, we don't okay. Well, look, arrest me so I can use it to bond out. Do whatever you feel like you need to do. Just know that you about to, you're going to owe for whatever you do. You will be owing for it. So tread lightly, And when you get a bond, you attach your car to it. You get all that stuff. You have cars paid for your car. This don't work when you got, payments. You don't own it, so it ain't yours. So it don't work. You gotta have ownership of your vehicle. Okay. I don't really get into all that. People be, trying to get vehicles and shit. All that other crap. I'm not with that. That kind of stuff. I don't think that stuff is right. It doesn't really make, sense. For people that did it, go to dealership, they, accept for value and, and do all that shit. So I'm not with that at all. They do that, and they do the, the signature, signatory debt, promissory note, and all that good stuff. I'm not with that. And then what's the other one? The UCC. Forgot which one it is. But some people got cars out of it. And, they're wondering why their shit's, the repo man coming. They don't understand what they actually done. They got the gist of it, but they didn't get the full gist of it. But anyways, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if your car is paid for, you attach the bond to it, ain't nothing but like, what do you think a life insurance policy is? It's a life bond, So yeah. Damn, this road is tore up. So yeah, you have, all these things, and we're just left in the dark, ignorant. We're ignorant as all hell when it comes to these things. You know? So but there's ways to do a lot of this stuff, and everything is commercial in nature also. And you got to know that's how this place operates. They list you as a legal entity, right, or a fictitious person. Okay, that's what they list you as. So a lot of people that run around here, I told you, man, they no identity. Just run around here as a little Walmart. Don't know what's going on. So a little Walmart run around this place, not questioning anything, just following along with everything. Feeling special. But I go back to the whole ID thing. Like, wait a minute. Somebody approaches you, looks at you, and then asks you for your identification. Like, what? Looking dead at your ass. When they get a warrant, they don't ask for IDs. So all you got to do is look up and understand how they get warrants and stuff like that. And even that's another wicked story. But anyways, it's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So, yeah. And again, we're ruled by administrators and administrations. You send your schools where? Well, the city school district. They have administrators. They're ran by the state. It's all administrations. So they work hand in hand. Their job is to get as much out of you as they can. The banks, same thing. Oh man, it's crazy. Can't read comments, but I had the time to see that. He ain't even talking about nothing that I'm talking about. Jesus. Gonna come back as a sex symbol. Shit. But anyways, I just want to touch base on, little stuff here and there, but again, I am working on that. I told you I was working on that before because I am a Coloradoan. And, I'm going to say, look, man, I live here. I should have a Colorado. I should personally, if I have some kind of license, okay, an identification, it should be the one to state where I was born. Therefore, that's what I need. Backed by the state and the power of the state. All rights reserved under the state. And I found some interesting shit with that, man. Like, wait a minute. You know, I found some interesting stuff with that. Very interesting. You know, so if you was born in the state, even if you're still in the state, hey man, you know, you need to incorporate these things together because apparently your identification isn't even identification because, you know, this whole, I've been told y'all for years about the Real ID Act. You still have your Real ID, which is the federal, and then you have the state ID. So there's two jurisdictions right there. But which one has more power? They want you to believe that it's the Real ID. No, it's the actual state ID that got some more power. They want you to run out and get it. They realize not a lot of people did, but you know, I mean, they just didn't get down there, or they didn't think it was a big deal. So they try to make it a big deal. And yeah, you can fly without the Real ID. It's a bunch of hogwash. Told you the federal government, you know, be blowing smoke on their power stronghold because they don't have more power than the states. I mean, they showed us during Mr. 19. They showed us. They showed us that the state, that the state has more, they showed us that the state has more power than the federal government. Blatantly did it. During George Floyd protests, they showed us the states had more power than the federal government did, you know. It is what it is. So, but yeah, if you have you got a right to claim your identity. That was what Obama put into play. Let me see if I can find that. It's good, Glenn. Let me see. Shit, I forgot what I was about to do. I forgot what I was about to do. I forgot what I was about to do. I was about to just talk about, bring up a topic, but it slipped my mind. Oh man, I just forgot. But shout out to all you guys that's rocking out. As always, you know, shout out to you guys. I know it's late, you know, so always appreciate it. What else was I going to talk about? I forgot. So, I forgot I was going to talk about something. I'm buying my off-grid property soon. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. That's what's up. I still would love to get that done. You know, as soon as my situation is fully done, which it's, you know, it's getting that way. You know, I ain't no quitter. I ain't gonna give up. only after the fight is when he says, hey, it is what it is. You know? That's why this understanding how this system works is like so beneficial, man. You know? Because a lot of us go through this stuff, man. There's so many people, day in and day out, that go through all this stuff. All kinds of stuff. People that don't do anything. People that don't do anything or just get, you know, caught in some bull crap, you know, for something they didn't do. There's so many people out here like that. You know? I forgot what point I was going to bring up. Kipper Lakes region. I don't know where that's at. What state is that in? Oh, your version of Mexico, southern. Oh, man, you're right where I want to be. Damn, that's so beautiful, man. You better send me some photos and all kind of shit. And let me know when you go so I know I got a place to go visit. You know, I'll come visit there 100%. You know, you could be my eye, you know, when I look, there's this property here, because it's still tens and thousands of people flocking to Mexico. So, you know, again, I always leave it to, hey man, we got to know when to get out of the burning fire. You know, and say, you know what, we're gonna chill over here for a little bit. You know how to reach me? YEARIGHT2021 at gmail.com. Yeah, right, 2021 at gmail.com. You know? I mean, I literally almost had a beautiful piece of property in down there, man. It was unbelievable. It was like something out of a movie, man. It was like 30 acres. It had 6 cabanas, 2 main houses, and a grotto, like a in-ground canute. And it was like already built out. They built it out where literally there's just a small door. It's just a small door, and you go down, and literally it's a giant underground, like swimming natural something. Oh my God, it was unbelievable, man. Scary though. I mean, it's beautiful, but I'm like, man, shit. Oh, that is cool, but like they had it all lit. They had built stairs, like not just built stairs. It was like concrete and steel stairs going all the way down. Had a platform. I mean, this thing was amazing, and the place was green. 6 cabanas. You know, had two main houses, and like had like it was like a retreat. But I guess it closed and it was for sale, and I was like, what? It had like unbelievable fruit vegetations and all. I mean, it literally had 30 different varieties of fruits, herbs. It was unbelievable. But that's how it is down there in Yucatan, you know. So yeah. But anyways, we have a 90-mile beach and 100 miles of connected links. That's what's up. Yeah, just keep me updated, definitely on that shit. Definitely. But yeah. What else? Yeah, but we are in a point in time where, there's a lot of people fighting, and that's what I support. The fight where people are like, holding these people accountable the right way. No screaming, yelling. Just people really letting their voices be heard through paper. They don't like that. They try to do everything to wiggle out of that because they not used to it. They ain't used to. They're used to just people following. And just the same thing with me. Like, when I'm dealing with my situation, they're not used to that. They're used to stupid people. They're not used to me. They got to actually be on the P's and Q's, and they actually got to perform actual law and procedure. And they're like, and then they don't realize when they do that, they get themselves further in a hole. So, because it's already where it's at, but they try to, oh, okay, this guy, he thinks he knows this. Okay, we're gonna hit him with this, and then when I realized what I did, I'm like, oh shit, that's all I gotta do to create. Boom. In the process, they created even bigger problem. So, crazy. Yeah, way better than winning the lottery. So, yeah. But man, it was something I wanted to go over. Something I wanted to go over. And there's another thing, guys. Read your state constitutions, and you'll realize, like, wow, why do we have these? And then you realize that, the power comes from whatever state you were born in. Whatever state you're in. I would tend to think it'd be more powerful if you were born in the state than just being in the state. So, but again, we already know, like the state resides right where the capital is. Anything outside of that is some made up ass, ridiculous nonsense. But it's masterful. Well, yeah, shout out to all the people in the good fight. Out there fighting tyranny, suing crooked judges, crooked cops, doing the fight, redressing grievance the right way, So, yeah, there's a lot of people, when they step the game up. Bro, what are you talking about, man? what you sniff. You know, what does brother be sniffing? What you be smoking? What you be smoking? The rhetoric on China, revoking visas and all this other shit. Oh, did y'all hear they're arresting, illegals at their court hearings? Man, y'all, when you see that, you gotta understand that this is the American. When I saw that, that's the American people. They're going to be doing that to the American people. All right. Another thing is people are starving in prisons, jails all across the United States, guys. I've been told y'all about this. All right. You gotta ask yourself why, you know? Why do they need empty prisons? And they got a lot of empty prisons. So, man, what else we got? What else we got? Like I said, when I get settled in, I'm gonna be doing more on-screen, stuff to like, I already read that. Oh, there's also this thing that came out in 2019. It was the Commission on Unalienable Rights. All right, by the U.S. Department of Justice. Go check that out. Established by the U.S. State Department in July 2019 under Secretary Mike Pompeo, of all people. But it's at fundamental focus. The report emphasized a return to the U.S. founding document, such as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, as basis for understanding human rights, prioritization of rights. So, yeah, check that out. But again, while you're going through these journeys, you got to be wary of, your interpretation of the power. When you know that there's, both constitutions, you understand where your power lays, and you can intertwine the two. The state constitution holds way more weight than the United States Constitution. So that's another thing you should know. So know that when doing your research, that state holds more power than the other one, and they only really truly hear certain issues, and they don't have jurisdiction over others. So, yeah. get ready to wind it on down. Wind it down. Wind it. But again, shout out to all you guys rocking out with me. As always. So, trying to think, was there anything else I wanted to hit on? Not really. Not really. I forgot. I forgot what I was going to talk about. His story. Yeah, remember, learn your mystery. Learn your mystery. That's the true history is mystery. That's what they don't want you to know, because you're supposed to be a mystery, to others. That's supposed to be. That's supposed to be history. So, it's a long journey we on, guys. It's a long journey, but yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking that's about it. I can't think of what I wanted to bring up. Some talking point I wanted to bring up. Totally slipped my mind. It totally slipped my mind. And trying to figure it out. Thank you. Yeah, send me photos, 100%. And again, shout out to everybody who watches this later. Much love to you guys that tune in tomorrow or later or whatever. So, it's already tomorrow. So, time going by so fast, man. Just think. June, July, August, September, October, November, December. 6 months, it'll be almost January again. Ain't that crazy? Trucks swerving all over the road. Oh, hell. All over the road. So, all right, man. that's about it. Y'all. Yeah, I can't think of what I want to talk about, so it blanked my mind out. So yeah, if anybody want any advice, go try to figure out who you truly are, and stand on it. Try to live it. You know, might be interesting. You know, see who your ancestors are, where you come from. I don't give a damn if you came from the same. You might find out you came from a plantation owner. This might be something good to know. You know, I've done mine. I've found exactly where my father's last name came from, down to the Germans that came over here. You know, he was black, so you already know what happened. Well, he was native, so you already know what happened. So, you have to know where you come from. So yeah, I got some work to do, man, because, you know, dealing with Colorado, the Carolinas. Carolinas probably going to be a dead end, you know, but, you know, in New York, whatever I learn or whatever I do, I'll show y'all, because I got a whole different approach on it. So, be interesting. But yeah, that's all I got, y'all. So I'm about to get up off here, man. Much love to all you guys, and I'll talk to y'all later.
So, when you hear me speak, and the things I say, I'm speaking to my people.
If you ask me, I'll tell you what is wrong with the world. We're being desensitized from the things we should feel. Living our lives in these times while we suffer inside, and we can't see the problems because the masses are blind. Let's try and find a solution. We're not helping ourselves. We're walking around unattached and disconnected from self. Too comfortable and too scared. That's why we never rebel. That's why we catch me writing rhymes and trying to balance the scales. Put car on the roads. It seems like dawn of the dead. Zombies, robots, lemons being misled. It's like we're sheep to the slaughterhouse on the conveyor belt, about to self-destruct, cause we're under a spell. We search for purpose, but nothing ever surfaces. We need to be accountable, cause we're deserving this. Alarm bells are ringing, but it's like you refuse to wake up. Subconsciously you're hitting on the snooze. It's just another day in this world, while we're living under the spell. When you travel through realms, just make sure you prevail. Elevate for yourself. You need to stop sleepwalking. We're blinded by the rubbish and glamorized materials. Imperialism has got us fearing rules, and tired of these rappers rapping about their cars and jewels. If you take a step back, they will define buffoons. The saddest thing is that they're in the minds of all the children. They keep our money motivated, and that's how they kill them. But do we care? Young money's here. That's why I aim this 2 inches above your earlobe, so we can all start pulling in the same direction. Cause it seems to me like we've lost that connection. Man, you've sold your soul, so you show no affection. Get to know yourself and love your reflection. It's like your brain's a phone and you got no reception. Arm your mind with knowledge, use it as a weapon. Alarm bells are ringing, but it's like you refuse to wake up. Subconsciously you're hitting on the snooze. It's just another day in this world, while we're living under the spell. When you travel through realms, just to make sure you prevail. Elevate for yourself. You need to stop sleepwalking.
There has to be some accountability. You have to have some self-account. You have to say to yourself, what am I going to do that's right for me, man? When am I taking? When am I going to take ownership for what I do to me and my people?